From Al-Qaeda to Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram, terrorism has become a global phenomenon out of which the world is yet to rig itself. From the mountains of Afghanistan to the American metropolis, the trenches of Somalia to the newfound northeastern Nigeria, lives mostly innocent have been lost and assets reduced to rubble as the ominous sound of bombs reverberate across the world. And from gun battles to use of improvised explosive devices, vehicle-borne devices to outright suicide bombings, the world in this age has witnessed the most bizarre deployment of man in pursuit of interests oftentimes most confounding. In the United States in 2001, over 3,000 citizens from almost all countries of the world perished under the rubble of the World Trade Center and the headquarters of Pentagon. In Nigeria, within a period of 1 year, close to 1,000 have been cut down in the fury of terrorists. And in other parts of the world, it is an ongoing nightmare. While global initiatives to contain the trend are widening, the terrorists seem to be unrelenting in their nation. The foray into Nigeria a couple of years back has left an otherwise peaceful and happy people in shock. They have suddenly become witnesses of frightening acts they were familiar with only in the media. The public outrage and bewilderment is only imaginable, just as the strategic importance of their dear nation is attracting a convergence of interests to nip the act in the bud. The United States of America, through its many engagements with Nigeria, has committed to partnering to ousting this common enemy. This is the focus of Security File this week. Hello and welcome. This is Security File. I'm Oyekomi Olatuye. This is another edition of the program, and I have with me the Consul General of the United States in Nigeria, Mr. Joseph Stafford, and we'll be discussing some security issues in Nigeria, especially as it concerns the new threats of insecurity in Nigeria. Mr. Stafford, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Now, let's start this way. You've been in Nigeria for some time. How do you see our effort in containing the spate of insecurity in the country, especially when it comes to terrorism?
Well, of course, we wish our Nigerian partners well in their efforts to combat terrorism. It is a worldwide problem that no country is immune from. We believe that in confronting the terrorist challenge here, in confronting the violence in the north in particular, that a comprehensive strategy is called for. Of course, there is the security part of that strategy to deal with and halt the violence by those responsible for the acts of terrorism. So there's definitely the security part of it. Of the equation, but in addition to that, there's the importance of protecting the civilians in the area so they are not caught in the crossfire, so to speak. It's also the issue of the importance issue of protecting the civilians and respecting their rights so that they are not victims of excesses by the security forces. And of course, there's also the issue of responding, addressing the fundamental grievances. There are legitimate grievances of people living in the north, socioeconomic grievances, that can give rise to radical views, can give rise to extremism. So there are different elements to an effective strategy to combating terrorism. And as I say, in the spirit of partnership with the Nigerian government, with the Nigerian people, we wish Nigeria every success in confronting this difficult situation, and we will continue to do everything we can to be supportive in this effort.
Now, let me ask you, in your opinion, what do you think predisposes Nigeria to this kind of situation? I mean, it's a new threat to Nigeria. We're not having this kind of this security threat. What do you think predisposes Nigeria to this kind of terrorist attacks? And it's been incessant in a way.
Well, it's hard to come up with an exact list of items that can give rise to terrorism in any society. It's a complex phenomenon, and that's why responding to it is with a multi-pronged strategy is essential. So in differing societies, you can point to, as I referred to earlier, socioeconomic grievances. There could be the opposition to bad governance. I'm not saying this in the case of Nigeria, but speaking generally. And that can be causes of radicalization and a resort to extremism on the part of disaffected members of the society. That's why I think it's very important to reach out to those residents in areas that are affected by the terrorism, that are affected by the violence, and say, help us, work with us, so that we can deal with this phenomenon, so that we can halt this violence. What can you do to cooperate with us, and what can you do to partner with us in dealing with it?
Yeah, the 9/11 incident in the U.S. actually jolted the country, and it brought about a kind of transformation in some areas of the security in America, like the Homeland Security that was established. How do you think Nigeria can leverage on this, looking at our security network here, and how we can leverage on what happened in America and how America responded to it?
Let me say, first of all, I think there are some fundamental differences between 9/11 and what's taking place now in the north of Nigeria. In the case of 9/11, you had the extremists coming from overseas, from abroad, from foreign countries, entering the United States to carry out terrorist acts, the bombings of the trade centers and elsewhere in the United States. Whereas in the case of the violence in the north, we believe that those responsible are basically responding to a domestic agenda or agendas. Let me put it this way: it's a homegrown, largely terrorist elements, terrorist group, and that those committing these acts of terrorism, acts of violence, are responding to basically, as I say, a domestic agenda. Nonetheless, I think that regardless of where the terrorism occurs and whatever the causes and the context, some fundamental elements are important across the board in responding to terrorism. One is good intelligence, good information about the nature of the terrorist perpetrators and what their agendas may be. Another is the cooperation of the population. All the more important because this is a domestic agenda, so it's the people there that are affected day in, day out by the violence, by the terrorism. Their support is also important. And here, we certainly discovered this in the case of 9/11, coordination and cooperation among the different security agencies, both civilian and military, is essential. So that's certainly a message that we have amplified in our discussions with our Nigerian partners, that it's vital that there be this coordination so that the different agencies involved with security, again, both military and civilian, are operating together, are coordinating with one another. They're not working at cross purposes, that the information about the terrorists, about their operation, is widely shared among the different security agencies, so that everybody knows what everybody else is doing. That's vital. All the different security players are aware of what the others are doing, so that the action against terrorists is coordinated, is consistent, and is well programmed together among the different agencies.